These are some Dinar Guru updates, starting off with Mark Z via PDK. Once again, I'm going to report we are being leaned on to not talk about redemption stuff, especially from the banks who we expect to handle transactions and redemptions. They said they really need everyone to stay quiet right now. There's a whole lot I would like to say right now, but it would be ill advised. Just know that I'm very happy and content about timing, and yes, I think it's soon. Mountain Goat says, I can tell you there's only going to be one final adjustment to IQD rate inside country from Iraq from 1320 close to 1,000 or less. 1 dinar equal 1 USD. Must be over $1. At this time, the CBI is going to kick off the project to delete the zeros. Did this happen yet? No, it has not, but we can see that the official rate is fluctuating from 1320 as high as 1310 and 1300 some days. This is all good news. This rate will be temporary rate until the new reinstated rate shows up on the Forex. Mountain Goat goes on to say we are now looking for this rate change as CBI's next move. Yes, this will be their next move. No, there is not going to be any reinstatement until this part of the plan is completed. The good news is that the final rate change must be getting close at hand, as my CBI contact informed us last week. That someone on the committee team was asked to supply the IT people with a good set of pictures of the lower denominations along with the coins and a written explanation of how the conversion would work from the 30 notes. Keep that champagne ready. Frank26 says new notes, not the 30 notes, the new notes 1, 5, 10, 20, 50, 100. In my opinion, soon the banks of Iraq will have what I call specimen sheets. The thing about these specimen or sample sheets, whatever you want to call them, are high quality samples. Once the bank explains it to their employees, then it's time to show the Iraqi citizens. Not the high quality samples that belong to the banks, but the pictures of the notes and coins. In my opinion, Iraq Channel 1 will soon be showing the citizens of Iraq the new lower notes. Militiaman says, when we have seen banks openly talking and expressing we know this is happening, we're talking about it, oh yeah, things are going in our direction. Pimpy says, don't forget Iraq is on a self-imposed sanctions. Until they are clear there's no more restrictions over here in the US. It's not going to be that easy for you to find a place to exchange your currency. I'm not saying it's impossible. A reported Chase Bank was one of the banks you can go to. It's not going to be some fancy rate. It's going to be at whatever the current rate is at the time. Mark Z via PDK out of our Iraq Finance Committee sets date for 2024 budget table to reach Parliament. Article quote. Mark Z says this includes the HCL and funding for regional governments. This is moving forward within 10 days. It could be a key piece for what we are looking for. Clear article quote from The Economist, the window for selling the currency ends in 2024 and the central bank will devote itself to supervision. Another quote, the Central Bank of Iraq decided to end the currency window process and adopt correspondent banks as an alternative. There will be a new mechanism to provide currency for transfers without returning to the currency window or the electronic platform. Guru Fnulu, international attorneys, told me there would be 10 off-premises exchange locations allocated by regional population throughout the nation. I'm assuming they are using the 10 United Nations regions, roughly the same as federal regions, I was told, but there would be an exchange facility in the most heavily populated city in that region. For instance, Region 10 encompasses Washington State, and Seattle would be the location for that region. Also, by off-premises, I mean locations that were not inside banks but usually nearby to participating banks. These are what the unlearned are calling redemption centers. Caparoni says if Iraq and the dinar is ever going to raise in value, it will be based on Iraq's own economic success and growth of their economy, GDP. Only then can Iraq float the dinar to allow the world to determine its value based on supply and demand. Frank26 says, I don't plan to go to a bank. Can you imagine? I got 10 million dinars. Here, Personally, I don't plan to go into a bank to exchange my currency. I will have a team. I'm going to have my lawyer get a hold of the bank and say, I represent Mr. Frank and Mrs. Frank, 26, and want to make an appointment for you to come to their house and collect a large amount of foreign currency. My lawyer will already know what the bank is going to offer me. The less contact I have with the bank, the better. If you have a small amount, then you're probably going to go into a bank. Militiaman says Iraq has done the things they needed to do to be Article 8 compliant. They're going to stop the dollar auctions. They're going to have freedom of capital movement. That's going to create investor confidence. And that investor confidence is going to come from the investment law, freedom of capital movement. And lastly, I've got Pimpy, who is answering a question. Just to be blunt, make it simple. If someone holds 1,000,000 dinars, what is the most one can get from this amount over the next several years? I've been blunt about this. It depends on how long you hold it, says Pimpy. Pimpy says, let's say it starts to go up in increments, like I think it's going to happen. And you have to look at your 1,000,000 dinar and think to yourself, am I going to be happy with the current exchange rate? It really depends on when it gets to a rate you like. As long as they can stay out of conflict, continue moving forward like they have with reform, getting back in the World Trade Organization, showing up on the Forex, these things are very important on giving value to the Iraqi dinar.